Alright, so we're going to be doing the same thing that we have been doing. First of all, definitely do this. At the top of your paper, go ahead and make a key. Make a legend. So we don't confuse any of our symbols. Just write it out the top to be absolutely sure. Quiet down, please. We're talking and wait for you. Thank you. So, what symbol would go with this right here? Triangle. Okay. This is, how do you say this actually? That's greater than. And the symbol is pointing to the right. To the right. Less than. Pointing to the left. This is greater than or equal to. It's filled in. So it's greater than and it's equal. We got less than and equal. So make a habit of writing this down so we don't make any careless mistakes. And let's go down the left-hand column and just solve as normal. Just like we did with the equations, we're going to subtract, add, multiply, divide on both sides. And then we have to do the graph, and now we have the key up here to help us graph. So here we go. Number one, what plus 11 is going to be greater than or equal to 9? Okay, so same steps. Go ahead and subtract 11 on both sides. Right, so we have n, that's 0, greater than or equal to 19 minus 11 is 8. Now, if you need to, look up this symbol above and find it right here. Okay, greater than or equal to. That's right here, so I know it's going to be closed circle going to the right. Go back down. And you go closed circle. And then I suggest you make your graph like this, where you make the dot or open dot, and then you kind of go up a little bit, and then you go to the right or left. Try to use mine. There you go. Okay. So it can look like that. And that's it. If you have all the tools, it should be no problem. So let's continue on. Here we got the variable on the right-hand side, on number 3. So we got p minus 19. Add 19. You always start on the side of the variable, right? And we have 19 minus 1, or negative 1 plus 19, same thing. Okay. Now, this is a little bit different. We haven't had a variable on the right-hand side yet. So watch this. 18, this means 18 is less than all our answers. Think of the variable as meaning your answers. So with that in mind, if 18 is less than all of your answers, what direction should the arrow go? If 18 is less than all your answers.
Right.
So is 17, would that work? If 18 is less than all your answers, would 17 or 16 work? Really?
Yeah,
No. 18 is less than every single answer. So it's a little reverse because it's backwards. It's written backwards here, so it's backwards on the graph. So right here, it's saying 18 is less than all your answers. It's the same thing as saying your answers are all greater than 18. All right. So we need to do open circle, and we're going to the right. So if the variable is on the right-hand side, it's reversed from the graph. Because everything we did yesterday, the variable is on the left-hand side, and it all pointed in the same direction as the inequality sign. But this makes sense. If 18 is less than all our answers, okay, 18 is less than 19, 18 is less than 20, 18 is less than 21. It's true if you make the graph going to the right. If you went to the left, it wouldn't work because you'd be saying 18 is less than 17. Or 18 would be less than 16. So that doesn't make sense. That's not true. Okay? Yeah. So the variable's on the right, then you need to switch. Okay? Variable's on the right, switch it around. Small but important. Got that? Let's keep going. Number 5, we got 14 times what is negative 28. All right, so we know this. If it's multiplication, go ahead and divide. It is 14 times that. And go ahead and graph it. You can use the key up top to help yourself out. Number 7, what divided by 2 is 10? What number divided by 2 is 10? 5 divided by 2 is 2.5.
20.
20 divided by 2 is 10. So if this is division, you must multiply it. Multiply by 2. 2 on top and 2 on the bottom cancels out. And you get 10 times 2, which is 20. Yeah, what number divided by 2 is 10 is not the same as 10 divided by 2. Because you hear 10, 2, and division doesn't mean it's 5. You have to think about the question. And then go ahead and finish. All right, next. Divide by negative 6. Now, there's something that kind of interesting happens here. When you divide by a negative, right, if we try to put in some numbers, right, if we said this was greater than or equal to, right, if we tried putting in a number that's greater than or equal to negative 11, say like 0, right, if we plugged in 0 here, because 0 is greater than or equal to negative 11, if we plugged in 0 for our answer, that should be a true statement, because 0 should be an answer. But when you plug it in, you get 0 is bigger than 66, which is wrong. And if you plug in anything bigger than negative 11 into our original question and try to do a check, it always comes out opposite. It comes out wrong. There's something that weird that happens when you're dividing by a negative. So we have this phenomenon that happens that when you divide by a negative, it turns out all the opposite answers are correct. So what you need to do, if you divide by a negative, is actually flip the sign. Flip or change the sign. Okay, and that's from when you multiply or divide by a negative. So we started at a greater than, we divided by a -6, but then we try to check our work with anything bigger than -11, and nothing checks out, nothing actually works. So turns out if we take something like less than -11, like we plug in -12, plug in -12, which is less than -11, that'd be -6 times -12. There you go. Times -12, which is 72, which is definitely bigger than 66. So it turns out that, yeah, all the numbers that are less than -11 are the actual answers. So we're going to start at -11. Is it open or closed? Closed, yeah, up top. And you're going to the left. To the left. Same thing on number 11. You can see we're going to have -9 here, so you're going to have to divide by a negative once again. So small but important detail. We already know all this. Do this to both sides, do that to both sides. So it's really focusing on the open circle, closed circle, and when you divide by a negative, make sure you flip that sign. So we get P, we get -45 divided by -9, which is positive, right? And then since we divide by negative, flip that sign. So we get +5, and it's less than, all the numbers, all the answers are less than or equal to. So let's go in that direction. Alright, so we learned two things on the front. If the variable's on the right-hand side, you have to kind of flip it around. And we learned if you divide by a negative, you have to flip it around too. So, two reasons to flip around that are not really related to each other, but you have to do the same thing. Check out the back, just a little review in fractions. Okay. What plus 7/9 is bigger than or greater than 25/9? The same steps that we always do. If it's addition, right, we have to subtract. So I'm going to subtract 7/9 on both sides. Now we're subtracting, we're not dividing or multiplying by a negative, so the sign doesn't change. These are already the same denominator, right? Both 9, so we just do 25 minus 7, which is 18. And 18/2 is, sorry, 18/9 is 2. Yeah, 18 divided by 9 is 2. So we got 10. All our answers must be bigger than. So remember that just because there's a fraction here doesn't mean you do reciprocal. You do the opposite. If it's addition, you subtract. Over here, this is where we do the reciprocal because this is multiplication. So if it's multiplying, we want to cancel out the 18 on the bottom, so we put an 18 on the top. But we want to cancel out the 13 on the top, so you put a 13 on the bottom. And that was called a reciprocal. It's just like the flip side of a fraction. And if we have a negative here, we have to put a negative here. So it's the exact same thing. If we we have 13 over 18 negative, so you multiply 18 over 13 negative on both sides. So it's the right time and the wrong time to use the reciprocal. Use the correct time. Don't forget the negative. And you can always cancel out. If you have one on top, one on the bottom, they cancel out. So that's why the 18s cancel out, one on top, one on the bottom, and 13s cancel out. And then these two negatives, negative times a negative is positive. That's a lot of work just to get this x left over by itself. So we have x. Okay. I just multiplied by a negative, right? So flip the sign. Right. Flip the sign. And then we can simplify the fractions here. So 13 and over 13, those cancel out. That equals 1. 6 goes into 18 3 times. So we're left with a negative 3. Is that an open circle or closed circle? Okay. Check the front on the top. And go to the left or the right, the graph. You guys can finish those. Decimals you can do. Let's get down to the review. Go ahead and do the first step of number 19. Go ahead and do that first step of the review. Now these are equations. Some people tried to solve the ones yesterday. Those were expressions, not equations. These are equations, so at the very end you should have R equals and K equals. So start off with the parentheses. Negative 7 times positive 1 is, okay? That multiplies. Check my work, is that correct? Am I correct? No, what's wrong? Yeah, so this is a common mistake we see is the negative times a negative. Don't forget about this is a negative. So that's going to be positive 35. Very important. Makes a difference of your answer. So we got variables on the same side. 35 minus 8r is 27. 135 minus 8 is 27. Positive. Bring down everything else. Solving this, you can do this 2 different ways. Let me just add r to both sides. Remember, adding r is the same thing as adding 1r. And let's also add 7 to both sides. All at the same time. So on the left side we get 0, 7 minus 7, or negative 7 plus 7. And we get 0 again. So the whole left-hand side is 0. The right-hand side we get 0. And then we get 27r plus 1r, which is 28r. So 28 times what is 0? 0. Yeah. So we get an answer of 0. We can prove that by dividing both sides by 20. 0 divided by anything is 0. Now be very careful not to say it's undefined or it's no solution or it's all real. The answer is 0. Remember, you only get those other answers if the variable comes out to be 0. If we had 0r and there's no variables at all, that's how you get the no solution. A little bit more. Review of portions. Do some cross multiplying. So we have 6 times negative 3, negative 18, equals 5 times b. Notice how I was careful to go around the negative. I only want to use the negative 1 time. So, negative 18, 5 times what is negative 18? 5 times what is negative 18? I divide both sides by 5. And that does not reduce, so just leave your answer as negative 18 over 5. And basically just the 5's cancel. And lastly, remember that if you have a k plus or a plus or a minus, you use a parenthesis here. Very important to use the parentheses. Here we go. 2 times k equals 2k. And you can distribute and finish it up. 3k plus 6 equals 2 times k. Solve this several ways. I'm going to subtract 2k on both sides, and I'm going to subtract 6 on both sides. Same thing on both sides. Doing equations now, so we can do stuff on both sides. 0, 0. 3k minus 2k is 1k. And then we have 0 minus 6, which is minus 6. So I've gone through the left-hand side. Your homework is to finish the right-hand side and have that done at the beginning of class, tomorrow. So your homework is